Welcome back. It is June 16, 2015. We're going to look at the methodology of forming a percept according to Brentano for this portion of his descriptive psychology. It's a 6-step process. We begin with experience, and then noticing, and then a collecting what is noticed into a general order, and then the formation of a generalization type name for the percept, and then a type of a general unification of the percepts in a mechanical memory type of structuring. Nothing formal, but a loose structuring as a way to kind of gather in the lexical content of the percepts. And then we can draw out deductive conclusions from there. He says that experiencing is basically material registration of the inner perception, and we concentrate on pure distinctive elements, not every single separate element. It's temporal intuition. It's not infinite. We expand the infinite through our later process of conceptualizing our percepts. No error is involved at the level of intuitive experience. Now for noticing, he says that it is acquired through recurrence, and the individuation of consciousness occurs because there are some elements that are gathered unconsciously and not really through noticing that also become a part of the individuation of consciousness. Noticing is that moment of the formation of the explicit percept. It means acceptance of the percept into consciousness. When a whole is accepted, all the parts within the whole are accepted. And this percept formation is not emotion-based of being struck. It's not a graded or a gradation-based taking note. And it's not expectation-based of a paying attention. There are basic elements that go into our explicit percept formation. Usually it's based on building of habits. We need to negate the familiar clear vision of accommodation, be willing to go outside that narrow vision. There should be an existential awareness and alertness that's present. And many times we go to experience with a thought-out plan of a predetermined guidance of a schema that we carry with us. We also carry our motivational base. We need to negate all prejudices. Now, misjudgment when forming a explicit percept can happen when we simply lack a name for a percept that we're trying to form, or if we have a prejudice of habit that's hindering us, or we're just judging according to established ways and not willing to alter going out that familiarity. And trying to judge too immediately without really considering all aspects. But basically, conviction or motivational base can help us to negate all of these negative aspects that try to hinder our judgment. So basically, he's telling us that noticing is his term for percept formation. The explicit percept is formed in our internal perception. It's called noticing for Brentano. And it follows immediately after the presentation in experience. So we have the objective presentation, and then we form our explicit percept, but we form it through the repetitive recurrence of an experiential event. And there's an existential alertness that must accompany that. But it's all about reaching that generalization at the level of intuition, at the level of perception. We're not dealing with universality, we're dealing with a generalization. And so it's all very much about the generalization of the distinctions that we gather and form into a unity. And once we gather those pure distinctions and form them into a unified whole, we name that whole as an explicit percept. And we give it whatever name we're going to give it, but it's a generalization. It's not a universal concept by any means. It's too primitive. It's too early in the formation of our conceptualizations. This is merely a first step of data gathering, intuitive data gathering that we have not applied any trajectory to. We haven't applied any criterion of truth yet. We simply have grasped the material impression, the intuition, and we've kind of given it a generalized name. And he says we will form a collectivity of these percepts. We can kind of gather them together in a mechanical type memory, just simply for retention. No formal structuring. As he said, it's an intuitive kind of generalized structuring that we kind of, or unification that we kind of gather in intuitively. But once we get this kind of intuitive unifying force, that becomes more of just a mechanical memory for retention of the lexical content of our percepts, because we do end up with a lexical network of percepts eventually as we continue to accumulate these percepts through various recurrences. We will eventually formulate a mechanical memory which contains the whole of our network of generalization percepts.